Do you okay? Do you all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So as I mentioned before, this is our NGO, which is Territorios Vivos, and our program in Spanish is Semillitas, but in English it's Little Seeds. So this is the work that we started 2 years ago, and we have, well, I'm going to explain through the presentation that we are growing like little by little, but our goal is to grow, in more places across the country. So our program is focused on the conservation of the forest, of course, because what we are trying to do is to restore the forest that we still have, and with some stakeholder engagement, also start to have our country even, well, a little bit more green than we have right now, because we, maybe as a little bit of context, we are the most deforested country in Latin America, and we are the one that has the highest population rate. So that's a big challenge. And through environmental education, what we want is to have this program for young people and provide skills in the rural area of our country, where the natural protected areas or natural areas are, and to make these children and young become lead actors against climate change. And well, how we are building STEAM education through Little Seeds. First, most of our sessions are based on science, as most of the people in the team, we are mostly biologists. We have one, well, he's a teacher of teachers. So he is specialized in education. So he's helping a lot with resources, and try to focus on the target people that we have for the program. And what we're trying to do is for these children and young to understand nature and the social world where they live, because at least in this site that it's called Rio Sapo, it's Sapo River, it was the place that was most hidden by the civil war. So most of the people in there migrated to the US, or they went someplace else. So the population that stayed in there, they have been like really um, relegated from the other decisions in education, in economics, and in anything else that the government is searching. And also, we are trying to take some technology to the rural area. As many of you know, well, we are a very small country, and these type of opportunities are not available for the educational centers and schools in El Salvador. So what we're trying is that we're taking some of the participants of the program to the interactive center for science, that it's kind of 2 hours from the place that we are working in the field. So they are start learning how to use the microscope, how to use drones or some other technology, so they can start understanding a little bit more of the biodiversity, and also the value that the forest where they live has. And we are also trying to teach them how their cell phones are also very useful to take data. So sometimes we kind of put some programs on the cell phones, and we start taking data about biodiversity and type of some, research that they can be made by them. Like, they're very simple, but at the same time that can contribute to understand a little bit better the situation with the biodiversity in there. So this is a photo with the iNaturalist platform, which was the first thing that we started teaching them, iNaturalist, if you're not familiar, it's a digital platform where you can take photos of any animal or plant that you see, and you start collecting data of locations where that species can be. And also using AI, it also gives you what type of species could be. So it's pretty simple, but at the same time, it's pretty useful. And engineering, our goal is also trying to get this knowledge so they can learn to solve technical problems, right? Based mostly in the most critical situation that they have, which is water supply. In some of the areas of these places, they have to walk long distances to get clean water. And also pollution is another topic that maybe it's not that close to them, but we are trying to give some examples of how our city is right now in terms of pollution, and what they have to do in terms of like trying to avoid that the same situation gets to those places. Also, we talk a lot about degradation of land and how using some engineering, they can understand a little bit better what's going on in terms of forest degradation. And also we have integrated a new topic, which is food security in the communities. And for math, we also put some activities related to math in each session. We are counting seeds that are dispersed by bats, which is something that we have all worked with this group of mammals in the group. I mean, the ones that we are the instructors of the program. And we are also teaching the kids how to take care of our plant nursery that we have. So sometimes we get some pests in the nursery, so they start counting like how big is the damage using some quadricles and numbers. So they are also started to learn a little bit about herbivory, which is something pretty common in there. And our audience, you can see this is the map of El Salvador, and these are the two sites that we are working with semillitas, with little seeds. And the one that is in Rio Sapo Basin is the one that, thank you to NAAE, we have more sessions with them. And the other place, we're still looking for more funds. And here you can see our audience in Rio Sapo. They're youngs from 12 to 18 years old. And our audience in Jucuaran, we have youngs from 13 to 24. So this is the youngs that we're working with. And just as a type of conclusion, what part of the program is what they like the most? What, through interviews and talking with them, what they mostly mention is that now they understand that the place that they live is unique in our country, and they start understanding that these are the hotspots in El Salvador, although are never, we are never known about our biodiversity, because comparing to other countries in Mesoamerica or in Latin America, as we are very tiny, we don't have as much as Mexico or Colombia or other places, but we still have a lot of species in here. And also they love to interact more with nature, because it's something that they usually don't do. They only go from their house to school or from their house to church, but they have never participated in anything like Little Seeds. And also they love to have access to technology, so all had the chance to flew the drone and understand why some people is using this type of equipment to gather information of different sites, and they get excited, to see all the images from the drone. And also we want them to, in the future, to collaborate with us in some researches as well. And now maybe to me, what is most significant of our program is that they have a sense of belonging. They feel that they are part of something that is different. And, we are relating 4 different communities in Rio Sapo Basin. And even though they are kind of close, they have never interacted with each other. So now they have friends nearby, and that's very nice, that our program has built that option. And well, we also get the comment that they are increasing their knowledge, and now they are being outstanding in class, mostly in the science topic, and they love to have this learning space. So I think that's it, what I wanted to show you, and I'm really open of your questions or comments.
That was great. Thank you for that, Melissa. Really appreciate you taking the time to put that together. And I certainly enjoyed learning more about all your work, especially work with bats. Like that's so cool. What a fun way to use that as a catalyst for math education. But yeah, I guess if anyone has any questions right away, we could kind of take some of those immediate questions for Melissa, and then maybe do some of the kind of general updates and general discussion reflection.
Well, I had just a curious question. What was the lesson with the water bottles and it looked like different? Just can you tell us a little more? I just was curious.
Thank you, Annie, for asking. Actually, well, this weekend we were working with water security. That was the topic. So they had built, they had to build this pretty basic filter. So we made kind of a challenge. So we put all the materials. We didn't say that much. We said like, okay, we're going to try your creativity, and also we at the end are going to measure which filter is the most effective. So we start, taking the time, like which filter, the water almost went across the filter and didn't filter anything. So they start, making some critical thinking about what could have happened, what was missing in that filter. And so each group follow different methodology. First, they had to discuss, right, like, okay, how we are going to build it. And it was pretty nice because in that station we actually have a very professional filter, so they can have a water supply during our sessions. So at the end we started showing like a real filter, how it is, and that why we need it, because in El Salvador, like 10 years ago, there was a study across the whole country, and we only have 3 rivers with water that is considered good to drink, and one of the river is the one that we're working in, and the rest of the country, all the water, it's like very polluted. So we also speak about that. We showed some pictures, but that was the very basic filter. But it was very nice. I thought at the end, like, it's a pretty simple way to show the importance of having a filter in places like our country that doesn't have a um, like that option of water supply everywhere. So we also talk a little bit more about what parts of the river is the best place to get water, because there's something also important for them to know. Some of them even spoke about their experiences, as they always join their moms or their fathers to get water. So they were also talking about what they have learned since they were kids. So that was also very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just really curious. And then, I mean, are there like solutions that are kind of naturally obtained for filters? I mean, did they find that one thing works better, or is it really kind of more the experience?
Well, right now, because we split the session, as they took a lot of time, and for us it's also like we don't like to interrupt when they are inspired and
Right,
everything.
right.
The next session, we will have someone from the government that works in a project of improving the water in our country. So he will give a talk, and then we will teach how to build a better filter so they can use
Cool.
it at home. And yeah, that will be, and also we will integrate macroinvertebrates topic, which is
Mhm.
also, they are also water indicators. And for that, the Center for Interactive Science, they will help us with stereoscope so they can identify the species that are good indicators of water. So yeah, we're trying to mix a little bit of everything, but at the end, as that's one of the critical topics in El Salvador,
Yeah.
we put it in the agenda. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks. It was really just a curious, but it sounds really cool. Sounds like a great lesson.
Thank you. Yes, and you know what it maybe to us that we're from the city, they were so sad to see the images of the rivers, all polluted, and they didn't imagine that it was here. They thought like, oh, that must be in Africa or someplace that
Yep.
they are, starving and having, and we were like, no, that's in here. Like, but yeah, it's type of, sometimes people in those areas are not aware of how valuable is the place where they live. And
Yes.
so that's part of the adventure through Little Seeds.
So many great initiatives that's part of that program. Melissa, what is the major causes of the water pollution in the rivers? And then with these young people, do you see it opening their eyes to like some of the careers they might want to pursue as you go through this? I'm just curious, what is causing most of the pollution? Is it vary from site to site?
Well, it's mostly from, you know, the wastes in here are not well treated. So
Okay.
everything goes to the rivers and then to the sea.
Yeah.
And also the industry in here was not regulated until the early
Yeah.
2000s, I think, because in
Yeah.
the 1990s, I still remember that I used to drink water from the tap, and in 1993, I remember that I went back to school and it was forbidden
Yeah.
because there were like a lot of places with cholera and very
Yeah.
sick,
Yeah.
and so yes, the industry was regulated at the end of the 90s, and that's why right now in some places there are a lot of people
Yeah.
getting sick.
Yeah.
And if you don't have money, to
Yes.
buy like
Yeah.
bottles of water, then yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough issue, especially when industry isn't regulated. They're not gonna clean it up on their own either. So hopefully that'll get better over time and that the students will be part of the getting it better because of what they want to see happen in the future. But thanks for that.
And also, as well, our program is mostly for forest restoration, but as everything is connected, so at the end we always think like it doesn't matter if we are restoring all of our ecosystems, but we need like all the steps through. Like we also need people to, because most of the deforestation is because people need resources, and it's kind of giving them more consciousness about how to handle all the natural resources that we have available.
I just wanted to say incredible presentation and I love the photos. I was just wondering, like, do you work with schools on this? You said it was ages 12 through to 18. Like, how's the structure of the program? And do you work with the same kids over various different topics, or is it different kids each time?
Thank you, Sean. Well, what we do when we first got to these places, we went to the schools to give a small presentation of our program and that we wanted to start to build this environmental education program. So it was something voluntary, like people start putting their names and their phone numbers and that they wanted to participate. So yeah, when I meant like communities, because there are small schools through those communities. So, but yeah, the schools were the first place where we got in the first moment that we built Little Seeds. And then, as you mentioned, what we do is we cover the same topic, but as we have like kids, we have kids from 5 to 11, and then the target that is kind of the young people. So we try to, put the same topic, but in different languages. And also for kids, we play a lot. So we do everything but playing, and so they can understand or have a very basic idea of, in this case, what water security is. So we play that game. How do you call it? Like paper, scissors, and yeah, and stone. So we did that, and at the end, the one that loses has to respond a question, and it was based on a video that we made with a little frog that was sick because the water was polluted. So they learn through, visual material and also some games. But with the youngs, then we can go, beyond that and be more specific and use some technology as, yeah, with them is that type of things can be done.
Amazing. I absolutely love learning through play. I think that's the best way for all ages. I also wondered, you said the research facility was 2 hours away. Do you organize transport for that?
Well, actually, one of the parents, he has a truck
Oh,
that
perfect.
he used to transport yes, like rocks for construction and everything.
Yeah.
And he offered the transport. He said, like, I love this because also the communities are a bit far away from the station. They have to, by car is not far. It could be half an hour
Mm,
from the biological station. But walking, it could be maybe 1 hour and a half.
yeah.
So that parent, well, he's called like Joseph. So Joseph helped us to bring the kids, and he also take them to their houses, and he also is helping us to take them to the center.
Awesome.
So also the parents are getting like very involved in this. And when we went to the center to teach them the microscope, the moms were so excited, like they didn't let the kids see the things because they were like, "Oh, I want to see too." So it was very fun.
Awesome. I'm gonna stop recording.